JS Racing. We're in the game.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
JS Racing. We're in the game.
Hey Dad, did you know that replacing your cooling system reduces repair costs and improves energy efficiency? Plus it operates more efficiently, which means more money in my pocket. I mean, your pocket. Hey Dad, did you know that a new cooling system is less noisy and has a smart thermostat you can control from your phone?
How'd you get so smart?
Must be from Mom.
When it comes to your home's most important decisions, make the smart choice and trust your local Cedar Rapids Pro partner. We're in your neighborhood, so call today.
It's time to take a step down from the super speedway of Daytona, but we're still going to be flat out and wide open. Live for week number 2 of the Chapman Cup Series, it's Atlanta Echo Park Speedway. Welcome in, everybody. I'm your host, Bradley Cooper, alongside Alex Gagnon. Alex, Atlanta, the reconfiguration, how this racetrack has been recomposed, it's going to be more of the same from what we saw last Wednesday.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of overlap in style here at Atlanta at Echo Park, but it's going to be a little bit different because you're going to see a lot more runs sort of form and generate coming out of these corners. So instead of seeing a lot of the gridlock that we saw at times last week, we're going to see a lot more kind of accordion effect, a lot more comers and goers through the field, which should make it a bit more dynamic, but that also makes it a bit more dangerous because this is a much smaller track than Daytona, as you're seeing on your screen here. This place, you're starting to get bigger runs with less surface area, which is a bit of a recipe for disaster at times if you're not keeping your head on a swivel.
Yeah, there's no lanes to choose, and 3 wide is almost impossible off the exits of these corners. You're going to see it all day long where drivers are going to get a big run, they'll have nowhere to take it, and it's just follow the leader. But what it also creates is really good racing on the quad oval. When we come off of turn 4, there is a red line rule, but you're going to see drivers flirt with that all night long to try to get the advantage.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Especially going through the quad oval with how tight some of those guys try to cut that corner. It's going to be really interesting to see who's trying to make those big moves, especially going into turn 1 when they get up the speed. You can generate a lot of speed through there, make a late dive to the inside. We saw it a couple of times over the weekend, and I have a feeling we'll see a lot of that here tonight, especially if you have a run and want to go for that lead.
Now, I don't expect to see a car missing a fender win the race here. iRacing a little bit different with its damage model, but congratulations to Tyler Reddick. I mean, the guy's on the heater.
Yeah.
So
no kidding. And we'll see if Dylan Picklesheimer can do the same thing here, our winner from Daytona. He's looking to do the same thing today and just go 2 for 2.
130 laps, 45 miles per hour. Pit road's going to be difficult. If we do make it to green flag pit stops, they'll enter on turn 3 on the backstretch. 6 tire sets, 5 in the pits, 2 green-white checkered attempts with 50% fuel on this 50% race distance. With that, though, it's time to go to your pole award, starting on the top spot with the KLD pole award. Number 1 position going to go to Matt Robinson in the number 11, a car that has proven he can get around these super speedways, has a victory at Talladega, I do believe. And looks like my timing and scoring is dancing around, so for whatever reason, we're going to put the actual pole award back up there. Starting to his outside here this evening, it's going to be Dakota Floyd, as you saw there pop up. Gotta love iRacing when it just hijacks your machine, but there he is with a 31.369. 0.02 of a second difference there for Dakota Floyd. Row number 2 is going to belong to Dylan Picklesheimer. Kevin Orlando Jr. will start in 4th. Then row number 3 with Michael Reed. Michael Call will start in 6th spot. Grant Turner, Fred Pennington. Grant Turner has a win here in the Truck Series. And then you go to the top 10 with Tyler Harrison, Trevor Keith starting in 10th.
Yeah, looking back here at row number 6, Carter Lins, Jeremy Burns making up that group just ahead of the 26 of Kyle Diaz, the 23 of Christopher Schaefer in row number 7. Rolling off 15th will be the 41 of Trevor Earhart alongside the 54 of Caleb Gilbert. Jeremiah Nelson and Justin Ritchie will make up row number 9 with the 87 of Brandon Pamitat and Rob Rader rounding out your top 20.
We're going to keep scrolling the grid on the bottom of your screen as we cycle around here, but the pace car is going to pull off. And we're live and racing for 130 laps at this 1.5 mile oval. Chapman Cup Series action. Live here tonight on Vspeed, week number 2. Getting really established there on the inside line as Dakota Floyd takes over the top spot. Matt Robinson falls back to 3rd. And there you see those drivers flirt in the background. 3 wide there across the quad oval. That's about the only time you can get away with it, but it didn't work. We have a caution here already on lap 2.
Yeah, big wreck into turn 1 as well. Multiple cars collected. 54 of Caleb Gilbert there coming to a rest at the apron. Take a look here at the replay. Oh boy, that's a hard hit for a number of those guys in the back of the field. Looks like Kyle Stort's caught up in that as well.
The Commodore 64 is destroyed. The hood is completely ripped off of it. Now this is silver lining in all of this is that it happened early. We do have a stage break, of course, that will bring these drivers back into maybe being able to repair some of these cars. But, man, the 10 car, it looks like it's done for the day.
Yeah, it certainly does. The damage there pretty significant. We'll take another look here. They make their way in. It looks like it's Holloway who gets tangled up there initially with Bennett going in the one. And then that's kind of where things fall apart. Keep an eye on that blue and silver double of cars right there. And actually contact, Richardson got into the back of Holloway, and that's what set off the chain reaction here. The 8 gets away relatively unscathed. It's, heavy contact though for Gilbert, Bennett, Holloway, Stewart, and looks like a couple others who may have been caught up. So that is already a bad sign here for Kyle Stewart. That right front looks like it's about to pop off at any second.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate scenario for a lot of these guys. And then the other silver lining that I could give you here in this whole situation is at least it happened at the back of the field. We didn't have more cars involved with it. That's the other part of this race that, you see it at Daytona, you see it at Talladega, but here at Atlanta, it's tunnel vision. And if that happens on the quad oval, it's a parking lot. So you got to be careful with those bumps.
Yeah, especially because, you can do that a good bit on the back stretch, but on the quad oval, on the front stretch, there's not really a long enough portion of straightaway unless you get them in a clean spot right off the corner to make a bump where they're not also turning. It's just of the amount of speed that these guys are carrying through that section of the racetrack. So even a bump there is getting pretty ambitious as far as trying to make a move, especially this early in the race. I'm sure that is going to be a good reminder for a lot of the field to try to settle down and, try to find a bit of a balancing point on where you can and can't push here, particularly the backstretch. Definitely possible. The quad oval, not as much.
I'm reading the chat here, and I'm not sure if that's an audio issue that we're having or if someone's muted, possibly. So make sure to check your audio settings on YouTube, but I'm looking at my audio mixer loud and clear, at least on my end of things.
It sounds good from my end. Obviously, if you're still having issues, let us know. But sounds like, at least from watching the feed on my end as well, it sounds like we got audio. My money is just being it was the first lap while we were letting the engines roar to life here.
Mira Otez, we aim to please here on Vspeed, so if you are having any technical difficulties, I would first advise you to press F5 on your browser, or on your smart device. Just close them out. YouTube likes to be finicky sometimes, and so does this track, as we have Dakota Floyd, Kevin Orlando, Matt Robinson, Michael Reed, and Grant Turner. And that's one of the cars that I'm watching here tonight, because Grant Turner absolutely has the goods to get it done here. I watched him do it in the Truck Series. He almost got it done in the Cup Series the following week. It was a close race for him. It would have been one of the first drivers to go back-to-back Racing Revolution with their Coastal Financial Truck Series and limited schedule. But, of course, they matched a lot of the Cup Series races the same week on Monday evenings.
Yeah, some great action over in that Truck Series. Some great action last week here in the Chapman Cup Series. Is the pace car going to make that left-hander back down pit road? Here we go, back to the restart zone.
Let's try it again, Barney. Wave the flag and let's send them underway on lap number 6.
Looks like Floyd off to a good jump here. He's going to be able to try to dictate the lines. Orlando slides right in behind Robinson there. And all of a sudden, the inside lane, just like that, established once again. A lot of cars diving for the inside here early.
And a reminder here, the stage at lap 30 tonight. So that's where these drivers are racing to for points. going to see it get more and more chaotic as the laps progress. 7 laps in, the inside has been dominant on these restarts, but the outside starting to develop. Tyler Harrison going to move with an elevator shaft there all the way to the bottom of the racetrack. I thought he was going to continue that run to the outside with the 5 of Michael Call, but instead dives to the left-hand side, places himself in 6th.
Yeah, slides on in. It's going to leave Call to the lead. The outside group, who's currently scored in that 9th position. Inside lane really dialed in here early. I'd imagine we will not see a ton of folks jump out of line just yet, barring anyone getting caught up and checked up here on the inside lane. I think a lot of these guys in the top 7, top 8 right now, happy to start getting some laps in, start seeing how the car is going to handle in the draft, and start figuring out who they can work with, who's going to be a little squirrely, that kind of stuff. This is really the learning process of these drafting tracks here, the opening stage. Just getting the sense of how the car is going to handle in traffic. And for Michael Call, you get a good sense of how it's going to handle in clean air, which is not always a luxury that a lot of these guys have in a drafting track.
A lot of new cameras out here this evening as well. You'll watch Michael Call drop down to the bottom, almost 3 wide in the background. That's the 23 of Christopher Schaefer, migrating his way to the outside, trying to pick up some spots. It's down 1 position, and a car that's also down 3 to the inside. That's Jeremy Burns, fan favorite.
Kind of what people are looking at here in traffic, in the draft, on board with the 9 of Jeremy Burns.
And it's single filed out a lot here, Alex. I mean, we're probably 15, 16 cars deep here.
Yeah, I'm honestly a little surprised with how quickly it has single filed out. Just given how much things were side by side at Daytona last week, and with the track having less real estate, would have thought more people would have been a little anxious to, maybe try to go make up some positions. But I think that early incident may have given some folks some cold feet on that, and I can't say I blame them. This is a long race to be taken out here in the early couple of laps. So right now, this lead group just getting some laps in, getting settled in, seeing where they need to get to make this thing work. See a little bit of side-by-side here, a little deeper in the pack. Side-by-side from about, dare I say, 16th on back.
Yeah, about that 16th position there. The 23 has stayed side by side with the 9, but they're not really progressing. And so running that outside, I think it's just involuntary. They can't get down to the bottom of the racetrack as we're going to look 3 wide here around the 21st position. 13 up the middle. Going to get by Jacob Sirkovich on the outside.
Yeah, Likens will slide right on by. Sirkovich drops back in the line here, and you see a very different race happening at the back half of the field right now versus the front half. Top half of the field, all running single file on the bottom, and then you get about halfway back, and they are duking it out here, double wide, coming across the stripe on board with the 13 of Al Likens here. As he is glued to the back bumper of that 81. As there are cars shifting all over the racetrack, and you can get a sense of how much more unsteady some of these cars are in the draft when you're running side by side. Because not only are you dealing with the draft of the car in front of you, any sort of side drafting with the car next to you can also impact how the car is handling. So you'll see a lot more people moving around here versus those single file run at the front.
Outside starting to progress a little bit, a couple spots gained now. Christopher Schaefer back up to where he started in 14th position. Michael Call to the inside for 13th. There is a slot there if the 23 wants it. Will choose not to take it coming off of turn 2. Going to continue this progression. Going to work towards the front. Dakota Floyd has had the lead since lap 1. Now coming up on lap 16. He's led the entire race so far.
Yeah, he's looked pretty good so far, really settling in. Robinson, Orlando, Reed, and Turner, your top 5 here, and have been really since this restart when everyone kind of was able to slot into place. So, strong start right now for Dakota Floyd. That being said, no one in the field should have any concerns about fuel getting to the stage, with the maybe lone exception of the 57. If you're really burning up a ton of fuel, it's about a 30-lap run on a fuel window, and that's how long this opening stage is. So he's led every lap, which means he's burning the most fuel. Something to keep an eye on, but I don't think it's going to be an issue for the 57, as we are on board here with the 11 of Matt Robinson.
And I think he's pretty content with letting that 57 burn that fuel. If he is in that window, if he does have that warning sign come up that he's low, Matt Robinson ends up taking the lead back with, a lap or two left in the stage. And on top of that, they closed pit road a lap prior to the stage caution. So if Dakota Floyd knows he's going to run out a lap or two short, he has to come down a lap or two sooner than that. And that's going to give Matt Robinson the advantage when we come to the stage break, because now he can pit. Dakota Floyd's trapped a lap down.
Yeah, 100%. And again, with that early caution, it probably shouldn't be too big of an issue. I have a feeling the 57 can make it on fuel. He is literally the only person with even the slightest bit of a question mark here to get to this opening stage. Anywhere from, say, 30 to 35 laps is kind of what we're expecting here, but that caution is probably going to stretch things out just a little bit here, so things will settle in nicely there as things are getting busy here in the back half of the field. There's last week's winner, Dylan Picklesheimer, now on board with the 7 of Joe Joya.
Malcolm Simpson to the outside of the 7 car. And a little bit of a loose moment there for Joe Joya. But again, these drivers pretty content in the back half of this field. 33 car, the sit down marks number 33. And what a fantastic finish at Daytona. A race that was kind of caution plagued there at certain times, but really cleaned up. We had a variety of everything at Daytona, and an awesome finish. That's really what these super speedways provide us. We've seen the highlight video. If you haven't checked that out, we had a lot of photo finishes at road courses, surprisingly, last season. I hope that trend continues, because honestly, it was a snooze fest at Chicago Street Course the first couple years we were running it, and it turned into a monster. Just an amazing race. And I know it should have made the top 10. I got a lot of comments about that. But don't worry. It's going to make a top 10, not a top 10. Don't worry.
Yeah, there was a lot of conversation about it. Definitely check out the top 10. A couple of clips here from the Chapman Cup Series, and that one, first one that comes to mind is the not only the Atlanta finish here in the Coastal Financial Trucks, but also it looks like Nick Alves got shuffled out of line here a little bit. He's trying to get back into the group. Not entirely sure what happened to the 24, because they were going down the back straightaway.
I want to say that was involuntary. Let's take a look at it. Caution's out, actually, back at the live shot. There's a crash coming out of turn 3, I believe.
So this is what we're reviewing here just before the caution, and that looked pretty voluntary for a moment, but this certainly does not. Christopher Schaefer, Caleb Gilbert. Sorry, that's not Caleb Gilbert. That's the 64.
Yes, the 64, Ben Laughter.
Ben Laughter, Chris Schaefer in the mix there.
Wow, this is going into 1.
Oh, Al Likens, Joe Joy. This was just the area that we were talking about. Things were picking up a little bit a moment ago, and then things really came unglued here through the quad oval.
23 gets loose. He saves it, but the 81 has to check up, and that creates 4 wide, and that's just not going to work.
Hard hit there. Looks like Sirkovich, Hayden James. 7 going for a wild ride. Kyle Stewart with nowhere to go.
Picklesheimer made it through.
Yeah, Picklesheimer doing a nice job there, getting on the brakes, cutting on through that.
Well, okay, so here's the difference. Picklesheimer, seasoned, he's got a victory. He lifts off the throttle and lets it all develop in front of him, and it still almost gets him. On the flip side of that, look at the contrast here. Let's go back and watch this. This is, okay, 7 of Joya into the back of the 44. It's a little bit different scenario. And in Joya's defense here, Alex, he can't see it.
No, you really can't, especially going through the quad oval there, especially running to the bottom. You just see cars starting to slow down. You try to find some open real estate. Like right here, you have no idea. You just see the 3s getting close, and then the 44 slowing up, and before you know it, you're just out of room. And along for the ride, the 7 goes, and then insult to injury there with Kyle Stewart collecting them as well. Yeah, that's a tough situation, especially through that part of the racetrack. Your visibility's so limited, and things progress so quickly going through that quad oval. It is easily the most dangerous part of this racetrack, especially after the reconfiguration here, because it's just so tough to make a timely reaction that keeps you out of the way if something develops there.
Well, the other part of this, we haven't mentioned the stage here. It's right in that window. And I believe we're going to have a shootout to lap 30 now with the way this caution fell. We're going to rack them back up around lap 28, and it's going to be a green-white checkered for the stage break. So if you're Dakota Floyd right now, you've had a pretty cordial race. It's been quiet. You've been out front by 14, 15 car lengths, and nobody has contested you. Matt Robinson got around Kevin Orlando. That was really the only change we've had since the green flag dropped the first time. And now Floyd's got to worry about everybody. And they've rode behind him. They've been content. But it's for points now. In a 2-lap shootout, I absolutely 100% believe they're going to go all out here for these 2 laps.
Yeah, I have no doubt about that either. And, you know, if this caution had come out a couple laps later, it would have counted as the stage break, but it was just outside the window. So we'll see. It looks like folks are starting to get stacked back up here. Lights are off on the pace car, which means we will be going green, I believe, next time by. So it looks like it'll be ultimately about a 3-ish lap shootout here to bring this thing home to the stage. Floyd and Robinson. Got to imagine they're going to try to hang on the outside lane a little bit more than those first 2 attempts to try to go for that stage win. I'd be shocked if we see those first couple of cars try to slot back in the way we did on the first or second restart of the day.
Go to Floyd, Matt Robinson, Kevin Orlando, Michael Reed, and there's Grant Turner lurking in the 5th spot. To his outside, Tyler Harrison. You've got Fred Pennington in the 30, Trevor Earhart, Justice Murphy, and Michael Call, the top 5. So just over that 2-lap mark that I was talking about. We're going to rack them back up for lap 27 here at Atlanta. Race number 2 of season 6. Your defending champion, Rob Roeder, currently riding in the 53 car in 16th position. So he's got a long way to go if he wants top 10 points. But it is an opportunity if he wants to push the issue here for this restart.
We've known obviously the 57's got some speed. I'm intrigued to see what the 27 here does. He looked really quick, but he also looked really content to jump into line on that early restart.
Won't see it again here, but a good restart and some wheel spin in the 2nd row. Michael Reed's going to get slotted out back to the 3rd spot. This is going to be chaos going into 1.
Oh, 3 wide with only a couple laps before the stage. Not where you want to be. And already the yellow's out further back in the pack.
And that's going to do it for the stage.
So there is your stage. Looks like Ben Laughter and Justin Ritchie trying to get back up to speed here. Tell you what, that is about as nightmarish an opening stage as you can have if you're the 64. I think he got caught up in all 3 of those incidents. But Dakota Floyd will be your stage winner here at Atlanta, courtesy of that incident here within the window of the stage.
Congratulations to Dakota Floyd. Held on for all 27 laps to complete stage number 1, just shy of lap 30. But he will come across the stripe as they come down pit road.
Man, this is a big stop. Last time you're guaranteed, a stop here where you can get 4 tires and fuel, no problem. Obviously, I'm sure the drivers are probably expecting the opportunity to stop again under yellow, but you never know. This is a good time to top off on fuel, put 4 fresh tires on it because you've got the time to do that service. And there's still a lot of race left, so I don't think we'll see anyone get too off strategy here. Although I could be wrong, because every time I felt like I've had a handle on the strategy last season, they very much said, nope, actually, we're going to do something completely different.
Dylan Picklesheimer said, hold my beer, I'm going to the front. He stays out. He had also brought it down pit road on that last pit stop just before the 2nd caution to end the stage. Dakota Floyd leading him into the pits. Looking for 4 fresh ones. Going to see the jacks go up on every single one of these cars. It's going to be a matter of who hit the box perfectly and who can get out of it. As you see already, dropping the jack for Nick Alves. He's going to gain a few spots with a fuel-only stop, and he's going to go to the front. He'll be outside row number 1. 3-wide battle for the 7th position. I believe Kevin Orlando won that battle.
I believe we also had a couple of cars that were fused within one another, leaving pit road there. Joys of sim racing is occasionally you can get away with that.
33 with some heavy damage, but going to stay out here, or will he come back down pit road? Looks like he's going to stay out. Well, we're going to take a quick break here, but stage number 1 has concluded. We still have 100 laps left here at Atlanta. Back with more of the Chapman Cup Series on Vspeed in just a moment.
JS Racing. We're in the game.
So Chapman's been around for 32, almost 33 years. It's a great company. We've built it from 10 people not all that long ago to 32 people today. We continue to grow. We're hiring people all the time. If there's one thing that I could do, like before my time is up at Chapman, it is making sure that we've built a company that will stand the test of time. And my goal as the current owner of the company, or one of the owners of the company, is to ensure that we can pass the ownership of the organization on to the next generation of people coming up the ranks today.
JS Racing. We're in the game.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
Stage number 2 about to be underway. A heavily damaged car on the inside of the front row. Dylan Picklesheimer is going to jump out as far as he can. Stage 2 at Atlanta, lap 31.
You got a great launch. The 23 on the outside, not so much. It's a really scattered opening group here. As now the accordion effect in contention. They're starting. Oh, Schaefer's around. Into Orlando.
And it's
And
a
they
big
are
one on the
wrecking off a
backstretch.
2. Oh, it's a parking lot. Raiders around. Turner, Linz. Looks like that might be Forget who stopped. Grant Thorpe sideways up there. I mean, the entire back half of the field stopped here. That was from about, say, 4th on back. Looks like Grant Turner might have some engine damage.
Luckily for these drivers, they do have a fast repair in their back pocket for this.
And a lot of them are going to be using it right here. Take a look at this. Starts right here. Bad push between the 81 and the 23 off the corner. And then just everything gets sideways. Justice Murphy a hard hit. Looks like Reed had nowhere to go. It's honestly hard to tell who's even in it through all that smoke. I think Kyle Stewart was sideways somewhere in there. Holy moly.
Pay attention to Tyler Harrison here. Thought he missed it all. He did get a little piece of it there from the 15, Trevor Keith. But yeah, essentially a parking lot on the backstretch. There's 2 spots out of 2 and going in to the quad oval that you just don't want to make a mistake. And that starts there. The 27 of Orlando kind of set this off, but he comes out pretty unscathed.
Yeah, that kind of wild that he did not get the worst end of this. It starts right here Heavy kind of right front contact. A little bit of hit of the wall there. Well, probably a little bit more than a little bit, but he kind of gets to avoid the rest of what's happening here because he's so early on in it. Big move there to avoid.
I'm trying to find somebody on board that avoided this for the most part. I think we're finding it right here.
Yeah, Parker Johnson hard on the brakes. I mean, all you see is smoke. Visibility is 0.
You got a piece
Yeah,
of
just
it.
a light tap, but boy, that was a masterful job there from Parker Johnson to kind of get that thing corralled and out of the way, because that's all you can do when you see that much smoke. The spotter isn't going to be able to tell you where cars are because they're everywhere. You can't see where the cars are from all the smoke. You just get on the brakes, hope you don't get run over from behind, and hope you don't run into anyone in front of you, and that's exactly what he did. Could not have drawn it up any better if you were the 48 there.
The positions gained or lost: Jeremiah Nelson with 15 spots. Nick Alves, 22 spots gained in this one so far. Your stage 1 winner riding in third, just in front of the 24. Matt Robinson, your pole sitter, still in the top 5. Brett Pennington, it's another driver that we need to take a mention for. Brett Pennington has done a fantastic job so far, keeping that Kinder Morgan number 30 clean and shiny side up. Riding in the top 10 is a good way to do it.
Yeah, started up there, I believe rolled off 8th, just kind of kept himself in the mix here. And the best news, if you are the 30th Pennington, is that, you know, every time one of these incidents are happening, more or less it's happening behind you. So he's done a good job keeping himself in front of the carnage so far through the opening 34 laps.
And we have tons of driver cams this season. I love it. I mean, I've never had to scroll this far in Racing Revolution. Usually I have the same 4 to 6 drivers. Tonight we have Trevor Keith, Hayden James, Daniel Holloway, Richardson, Lenz, Thorpe, names that have never had cameras before. They're all in here tonight. So I'm going to do my best to try to get you all on here at some point tonight, but we got to race green. That's the hardest part as a producer, is trying to get camera packs to cycle through when we're under yellow. So we'll try to do our best up here in the Vspeed booth. Again, Alex Gagnon with me all season long. If you're enjoying tonight's action, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because we are 4 for 4 last season at the road courses. Coda coming up next week. Should be a fantastic show.
Honestly, kind of crazy to say that of the 4 road courses, or of the 5 road courses I think we had last year, Coda was arguably the weakest, and it was still a fantastic race.
I don't count
we just
the
got
Rebel.
4. Yeah, okay, that's fair. That was still an adventure, but we had some barn burners that came up after that. As we are going green again, Picklesheimer on the inside, Jeremiah Nelson on the high side. And here they go in the 1 already. A couple of takers down to the inside lane. Just actually, rephrase that. Everybody basically going downstairs, except for Pennington.
Anything got trapped there on the outside as we get the speed going. Dakota Floyd has happened to lift a lot out of the throttle here. In fact, the 33 with that damage has impressed me so far, but we never really got up to full speed. Let's see it. Now this will be the telltale if Dylan Picklesheimer can keep this damage ZL1 up front.
And right now he's got Dakota Floyd behind him, and I'm sure for the 57 it might be nice to take a couple laps running the second spot, because he spent so much time up front, you don't really get a sense of what your car does in the draft when you're leading the entire opening stage. So an opportunity for him to fill up the notebook a little bit here while there's still plenty of race to go and there's not a whole lot of stressors coming up from behind you. As things are getting 2 and 3 wide further back in the pack, coming off through the quad oval here, it is getting messy in the 1.
Everybody's got a different approach there to that quad oval, where they want to exit the corner, and sometimes that creates a hole. It's awful tempting to stick your nose in. Sis on board with Rob Roeder. Just a different approach. You see Roeder takes it out a little bit wide. He gets the run on the 95 in front of him. but Hayden Manaz has nowhere to go. So, yeah, you have a different approach. You get some speed, but where do you take it?
Yeah, right now trying to track down, and that's the thing, because he can get to the back bumper there of the 95, no problem, especially when the 95 is almost getting up into the fence like that. Problem is there's just not enough racetrack to really make something happen there. As you see, there is the 3 getting a mirror full of the 95 up to the front of the field. Taylor now to the front. Michael Reed going to lead the high side. They got up and around Dakota Floyd, Dylan Picklesheimer, and now Sam Taylor to the point here going down the backstretch.
For a moment there, the 3 had it, but the 91 of Michael Reed has help on the back end. And a car in the wall in the background. That's Hayden James in the 95.
Oh, that was a big crash. They're still collecting each other back there. And, you know, we were just talking a second ago, Bradley, that 95 seemed to have a tough time getting that car to rotate in the corners when we were watching their battle there with Roeder. And then looks like, yeah, something happened there. I believe with Schaefer. The two of them got connected. Hard hit.
Rotated the wrong way there for the 95.
Yeah. That is a big-time impact. You see, gets put 3 wide here. Roeder goes on by, and as the 95, I think, tries to get back in and follow him, the 23 had already got the nose there, and that was a massive impact.
There's a look on board. That's Hayden James, who's on pit road now. I believe James had already had to burn one of those fast repairs, so stuck on pit road now with heavy damage. Doesn't look terminal, but not looking too happy about the situation.
Can't say I'd blame him either. Yeah, good bit of the field here, looking to make a stop. A lot of guys trying to repair some damage more than anything. I mean, there's a lot of mangled fenders coming down pit road. Picklesheimer, between the the dirt and the dents, looks like he's just been doing a rally race here. He's going to be trying to patch this thing back up. His quest to go 2 for 2, not over yet, but certainly hitting the snag here on lap 41.
While we have a moment here under pacing, let's see if we can round up a driver. Anybody you have in mind here? Let you be in charge of that one.
Sure, let me see who we can grab here for a moment. Where is... Oh, never mind. Their channel's locked. I can't pull them in anyway.
So what are we looking for?
I was going to pull in one of our race leaders from a second ago, Michael Reed, but TriStar has their stuff locked down. How about Sam Taylor, current race leader?
It's completely locked down. Let me see if I can move. TriStar,
well,
you said?
Yeah, but
Yep, it is completely locked down.
Yeah, so let's see if we can dial up the race leader here, Sam Taylor.
Sam Taylor, Bradley Cooper, and Alex Gagnon. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, Sam, on a mission there. The 91 pushed you up there. You had a good run. First time we've seen the outside really work together well. Now you're in a situation where you're the command car.
Yeah, sort of new territory for me here. Ain't really been up here that much. New season, see how it goes.
Well, so far, this car looks a little turbulent. Looks like it's ill handling at times. But how are you feeling personally now that you're in clean air?
I mean, I don't know if you see the number on the side of the door, but I'm the Intimidator. I don't feel anything.
You feel the air? You can see the air.
I see it all.
All right. Well, Sam, good luck out there. And hopefully we'll be talking to you post-race. Continue the run.
Oh, yes, sir. I hope you.
Slightly dangerous racing, correct?
Yes, sir.
Alrighty.
Well, with that attitude, that sounds slightly dangerous. I'm the Intimidator. I can see everything.
Hey, he's working so far. He's gotten from 24th to 1st. He's clearly seeing something out there, even if that thing is just working with the 91. 91 gave him a huge shove right before that caution to get up to the front, and now the 3 and the 91 dialed in up at the front of the field here. Curious to see how this restart's going to go. Dakota Floyd, Kyle Diaz making up row 2 with Johnston and Nelson in row number 3.
It's the 57 that's looking like Jeff Gordon, the 3 who's definitely a Dale Earnhardt scheme. This is going to be a little bit of nostalgia lane as we get set for our 5th restart. Back underway here in Atlanta. Michael Reed on the outside doesn't have help. A big gap back there to the 31 of Jeremiah Nelson. It's going to take a lap or two, but smart move there from Reed to drop down into the 3rd slot.
Yeah, took the open opportunity, found the draft, and that outside lane pretty quickly deteriorated. It's been interesting to see because more times than not, the inside line gets all the the traffic. But then right before that last caution, the outside lane kind of formed over the course of only about a lap, took the lead, and then we didn't really get to see where it was going to go because the caution came out shortly after. But clearly the capability is there to string together a run on the outside. Just a lot of guys do not want to do it if they don't have to yet. You see some side-by-side there off of 2, and maybe that's part of the reason why. Coming down off the banking here on that outside lane really disrupts the car, especially out of turn 2.
It's Kyle Diaz there in the 26 on the outside, and it looked like the car maybe hit the splitter off the racetrack, sent him down lower than he wanted to. Had to lift out of the throttle to keep that car in position.
They see battling right now with the 81 of Munoz and trying to figure out what they want to do here. Easier said than done. Looks like there could be some room to the inside. Up, someone's there. Closing that door up as quickly as it showed up was Justin Ritchie. So the battle continues here side by side for that 7th spot. It's single filed out from about 1st through 6th here. From Taylor back to Robinson. We get a little side by side kind of the rest of the way through here in this main pack.
As soon as you think that hole opens, Alex, it's closed. It's
yeah,
kind of like the McDonald's drive-thru for breakfast.
The moment you think they're like, oh, this would be a good time to go. Nope, I don't think so.
Nope.
So you see here, there's the 26 of Diaz trying to work the outside. Easier said than done. He's kind of been stuck in this battle here with Munoz and Ritchie the past couple laps. And even though he's got a good bit of help behind him here, they just really have not been able to make a ton of forward headway. And I think that's part of the reason why we don't see anyone jump up in front of the 26 just yet. The moment Diaz gets a run and starts making some forward progress here, I would not be shocked if someone jumped up out of line as he gets ahead of Robinson here, or gets alongside Robinson at least.
There it is.
And there's Rob Roeder making a move. So there it is. That's what they were waiting for. It was just, we've seen a couple of these drafting races before.
Yeah. Right on cue. Now, does that momentum, though, can you speak it into existence that the 53 takes the lead? Because I'm feeling like he has the momentum here. He's going to side draft the 91. He's at the door of the 57. One more to go here.
Yeah, they just need those outside cars to get stacked up a little bit tighter here. Give them a chance maybe going the next time around. We'll see how this goes, especially because that inside lane looks a little disconnected at the moment. Big side draft from the 57. They're going to get anchored in here for 2nd place between Roeder and Floyd. Sam Taylor now in charge of trying to police both lines. Easier said than done. Got to imagine he's happy to stay on the inside here, but the 53 is starting to make it interesting up at the front. Diaz there with him. They lost a little bit of help there back to Nelson. There's a bit of a 2-car length gap between them coming off of 4, but yeah, things at least now double wide for about 3rd on back.
That momentum, as quickly as it came, the 53 goes stagnant. He's going to ride around the 5th position down the backstretch, just to the outside of Parker Johnston and the 48. Side by side, going to surge back. Again, you're watching Rob Roeder and kind of that wide exit out of 4. That's allowed him to pull this side draft and get a really good run into 1. But you can't really do that off the exit of 2. So I think that's where they kind of lose their momentum, is because that track's tightening up so much. Back in the day, and you've been on this track in the legacy format, turn 2, it almost seemed like you were going to hit the wall every time you came off that corner. We actually had a touch on the apron there from Sam Taylor.
Yeah, and that's getting him a little out of sorts. Going to make this interesting up front. Nowhere for Dakota Floyd to go, but brings Rob Rader right back into the mix here on the high side. He's hitting alongside Dakota Floyd once again. Got Diaz right in tow, and this time Nelson and Alves a little bit tighter to him. Might have a run here down the back straightaway. And it looks like they are. They're going to be side by side at least going into turn 3 here for the race lead.
Side by side for the top spot, Sam Taylor holding on down low. Can he see this draft to his outside? It's working well.
Yeah, Kyle Diaz has been glued to the back bumper of Rader ever since they really got hooked up a few laps ago here. And it's really helped keep this outside lane in contention. Rader now with a nose ahead going down the back straightaway. Having the nose ahead is one thing, though. Clear him is something else entirely. Is there some big side drafting going on between the two? A little bit of a pinch maybe there off of 4. Boy, it's getting a little aggressive up here at the front, trying to take this lead away one way or the other. Saw the 3 really push up the racetrack. We saw the 53 push down the racetrack a lap later. They're really going after it here. Is the 3 a little out of sorts?
He tags the apron again there off the exit of 2, and I think you have to work a lot harder there on that outside to try to take this lead away from the 3 car. Even after he tagged the apron out of 2, he still stayed ahead of the 53, but look at that wide arch again. 0.02 of a second across the line for Taylor. 57 of Floyd trying to keep him up there. And I think if you're third on back, you're starting to get a little bit impatient here with the antics of the 3 car playing both lanes.
Yeah, he's doing just enough. He's doing just enough to hold on to the lead here, and I think the main reason we haven't seen Rader be able to capitalize is anytime they've really had a run, they've just gotten a little disjointed. Him and Diaz. So now you see that battle for third again. Rader trying to push up to the high side, get some separation, break the side draft at least for the moment. Floyd right back to the back bumper on the inside here, and I think if I'm Dakota Floyd here, the question is, you've got the 50 or the 91 with you. Do they continue to work with the 3, or do they try to jump up in front of the 53 if they get the room? Because those two have been really glued together while this whole thing's been unfolding.
There's a damaged machine. Lap down now for Alex Forget Berube. But this
Sam Taylor got shuffled out.
A lot of chaos here. Sam Taylor's going to lose the lead. 3 car back to 10th.
He got shuffled out coming off of 4. Take a look here at the replay. Gets way down on the apron. Nearly lost it. Was a big save, but obviously that scrambled the field here. And now Rader to the point. Diaz, Reed, and Floyd, your top 4. As that had repercussions all the way through the top 10. Dakota Floyd had to get out of the throttle big time and let Rader and Diaz go by. Reed snuck on through. So now this outside lane falls all the way back here. The 9th now make it 10th. As you see a couple of cars who I think have lost the draft here. They're in their own group a little further on back, just trying to reel in.
More than a couple, actually. This is probably half the field almost.
Yeah, they're just running single file right now. They're trying to put down good lap times to try to reel in this main group. They're about 9 to 10 seconds back of the last car in the lead pack right now.
A lot of these cars have damage. These are cars that have picked up damage at one point or another. And the leader of this group was a car that stayed out a moment ago. That's Dylan Picklesheimer, winner at Daytona. Probably not the best lead car. And we saw it in the chat. Caleb Gilbert, does he know to push the gas pedal? Well, I think he's kind of trapped right now. He unfortunately was deep in this field and got trapped behind some cars that have damage. And he himself has some rear end damage.
Yeah, all these cars have been caught up in at least one, if not multiple incidents here tonight, every single one of this group. So they're just trying to keep themselves afloat here till whenever the next time down pit road is. Probably coming up sooner rather than later. And the lead pack, not much different either. A lot of cars single filing out. The only car I'm really seeing on the outside is Justin Ritchie, who's battling for that 7th spot right now with Robinson. Looks like there's one other car on the outside a little further back. On board here with Daniel Holloway, who's got the nice view here of the lead pack.
Somebody needs to tell the Candyman to pay his light bill. I know the contrast on the screen, sometimes it does strain your eyes. personally like to have a really low lit room while I'm racing just for the glare, and so I get it. I get it, Daniel. Just had to poke some fun. Operator still up front. It is single filed out in this top half for the most part. You've got a couple stragglers out there. Looks like Ben Lapter in the 64. He had to use a fast repair earlier in this race, but the 64 car who started in 33rd, he's wrapping around the outside, working his way. He's actually by himself getting around the 14 of Bennett.
Yeah, he's doing a really good job right now rallying. Not a whole lot of help on the outside, just him and Justin Ritchie a few cars up. Only takers on that middle lane right now. And something I've been keeping an eye on here, Bradley, over the past couple laps is every time we've been getting down toward turn 3, Michael Reed is just for a split second taking a pop out to see if he can make a move here from third. Nothing going yet, but something to keep an eye on. As we're on board here with the 64. And boy, has this been a great recovery for Ben Lapter after a very turbulent opening stage.
Yeah, and I think it's been a great recovery for a few of these guys that got that incident out of the way right out of the gate. Lap 2, that's, not exactly what you want. You don't want any incidents at all, but if it is going to happen, you would like it to happen as early as possible, be able to get this car fixed back up. And with the fast repair, that helps you recover through this field. You might get buried back in the back, but you have plenty of laps to do it. You watch him continue to wrap around at 11th position now. He got clear of the 14 of Bennett, got clear of the 3 of Taylor. He's just continuing to run the middle line. I think the tires may be starting to wear. This asphalt's starting to change. We haven't seen this in Atlanta for a while, but he's making pretty good runs by himself.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised to see how effective that's been. You see he dips into the draft there just for a moment to pick up that momentum again, going through the corner. Now to the outside corner of Jeremiah Nelson. That's that battle for 10th. So he'll slot back in here. Did a fantastic job working himself into position. And
he's getting the run.
Yeah, it's staggering the amount of momentum he's picking up here through the corners. It's now everybody coming to pit road. Huge pack led by Kyle Diaz and Michael Reed.
You got to be careful here on the entry to this pit road. Pit road speed doesn't start until this yellow cone. But you have to be careful to keep it down on the apron. The lockup on the wheels. Michael Reed with a black flag. I thought so. That was close.
Yeah, came in with a lot of speed. Sirkovich also with a black flag. So a couple folks here getting dinged for speeding on pit road. It's tough coming down from speed here because you're carrying so much momentum and it's such a quick... The moment you get around the apron, I mean, it's so quick before that yellow cone that you really need to slam on the brakes. There was a separate league I broadcast back in the fall where the entire lead pack of 13 cars all followed the leader too fast, and all of them got a black flag, and the last green flag stop of the race completely spiked that event on its head. Not quite the case here, but we did have a couple of black flags, and that's what happens when you're trying to stay in this pack, you're trying to make up time under green flag conditions. It's just one of those things that can slip by you, because all you can do is, you try to get it anchored down, but if you even miss it by a little bit, you're going to put yourself in a really bad hole. There's another group of cars led by Robinson here. Cars merging in and out. Joya trying to get off pit road as Robinson and Lenz are trying to get onto pit road. Dicey.
Yeah, they made it work. They did a good job. Ben Lapter stayed out on the racetrack. He's going to continue another lap after all of these cars have cycled. Dylan Picklesheimer, Caleb Gilbert. This is the group of cars that was way behind, and I guess stay out. I mean, it's not going to hurt you. Pray for a caution.
Yeah, and right now the only reason they haven't cycled to the front is because Ben Lapter has stayed out, although he does not have any draft support here. So now he makes his way down pit road. Quick cycle of stops here. Everyone basically making that trip down pit road within about 3-lap span. Just waiting on this Picklesheimer group to do the same. I believe they're the last cars who are not pitting here, but they also pit a little bit later than the rest of the group, so they have the ability to wait a little bit longer as the 64 down into his box.
I would venture to say it's this time by for this group. They're going to stay out another lap. So Dylan Picklesheimer will lead this time by up to speed. But close behind, here's the second group led by Rob Roeder and Nick Alves. I take that back there. 24 car on the backside of the 53.
And that's where things have cycled out temporarily. You see Diaz right in the mix there. I don't know if the 53 and the 26 came down on the same lap. I don't think they did, but they did re-merge basically right into where they were running before the pit cycle. So no one really gained or lost anything between those couple of groups. It looks like now that Picklesheimer group going to finally make their way down pit road here. We're trying to stretch it as far as they could, hoping for a yellow. Nothing going this time around, but got to make a clean stop here, keep yourself in contention, and give yourself that opportunity, should the yellow come out, keep yourself still in this race.
Trevor Keith taking over the top spot. Dylan Picklesheimer down pit road, so Trevor Keith going to try to get a lap lead at the tail end of this group. Another one of the cars that picked up a little bit of damage in the first few incidents we had. Dakota Floyd, your stage 1 winner. 5 cautions, 7 lead changes. We have cycle pit road for the most part, and it's a perfect opportunity past the halfway mark. We have a special memorial here this evening as the 19 of Alex Forget will come down pit road. But what we'd like to ask you to do, instead of a moment of silence, let's celebrate the life. And let's get loud in loving memory of STC. The caution comes out. The 31 car is around in your frame just now.
Forget in the frame, in your face, sliding right from just spawned in front of the camera there. Heavy front end damage here to the 31. Jeremiah Nelson brings out the yellow here, lap 75. We'll see if we can take a look here and see what happened to the 31, but he slid directly in front of our point of view here. That's huge for the folks who were losing that lead pack. Oh, him and Harrison hard into the outside wall.
Did Harrison try to make a move, or did the 31 get loose? I don't know what happened. What went wrong?
Maybe just the slightest bit of contact. That's the thing, pushing in the corners, even just a littlest bit of contact can throw you off kilter. I think, the 31 started losing it just a touch, tried saving it, and, we've said it a number of times, even here in the Chapman Cup Series, Bradley, these next-gen cars, the thing that you just cannot do with them is any sort of overcorrection when you're trying to save the car, because the moment that those wheels bite again, it just shoots up the racetrack. You can't seesaw it. The moment you get it a little too far, it is all the way gone.
And it's that independent rear end. It's kind of deceitful because it unloads, and then suddenly, like you said, the tires bite, and that's that suspension starting to counter. You have the sway bars kind of reconnect and push the car back platform on the track. And if you're steering the wheel even a degree in the wrong direction, you're done.
And that's what we just saw there with the 31, the 45, what was seemingly a fairly innocent bit of contact. I mean, like, we've definitely seen more egregious pushes even so far in the opening 70-some laps. But yeah, just catch them at the right place, the wrong place at the wrong time. And then that car overcorrects, and now, 2 cars who have been totaled here. Don't know if either of them still have their fast repairs with how chaotic the opening stage was. But hopefully, for their sake, they do and can get their cars patched up and back out here on the racetrack. Still have the majority of the field here running in this lead group. I want to say we still have about 31 cars on the lead lap, and about 33 or so who are still in this race.
"77 laps in. 57 of Dakota Floyd, your stage 1 winner, has been riding in the top 5 for 99% of this race, outside of the green flag pit stops that we had just a moment ago. And we have about 9 to 10 laps on this stint. Fred Pennington outside the top 10. It's another driver I've been paying attention to. He's now in 11th. Carter Lynn's just in front of him. Justin Ritchie, Matt Robinson. Matt Robinson can absolutely get it done. And Justice Murphy up 14 spots. Parker Johnston up 26. Biggest mover of the race is that 48 car. He started all the way back in 32nd spot. He will be restarting on the outside of row 3.
He's had a crazy day so far. We've been on board with him a couple of times, avoiding a couple of incidents. And now, I mean, up 26 spots. It's been a great day for Parker Johnston. And there's a couple of this top 10 right now. A couple of them are folks that we've seen up front all race long, and some of them are folks who were just able to recover from some early carnage and are up to the front here. Guys like Nick Alves, guys like Justice Murphy, Justin Ritchie, Carter Lynn's. And there's a look at the 91 of Michael Reed.
Yeah, Reed with the speeding penalty. Daniel Holloway is actually down a black flag right now. I believe he's going to have to serve this penalty under the green flag. So it's going to be a drive-through penalty or a stop and go for the 21 machine. Tyler Harrison, who picked up a lot of damage on that, thankfully had a fast repair, so he will continue to race. As we'll start to, well, not this time by. We're going to delay the green 1 lap here. Rob Rader, your leader, the 53. How much of a drought did we see in Season 5 for the 53 car? It took him, I believe, half the season to find victory lane, over half the season.
Yeah, it was weird. He had like only the 1 win in the regular season. It took him a little bit, got it, and then kind of disappeared until we hit the playoffs. And I want to say it was the round of 12 where the 53 really woke up and just went on an absolute tear to close out the season. You take advantage of the format that was available to you. That's exactly what he did. He ran consistent, just not in victory lane relative to how often we used to see the 53 there last year. But then he got there in the postseason and really, really made it happen when it counted.
See what changed here. We are going single file restarts. The lights were out on the pace car, so the 53 of Rob Rader will take them single file. Back underway at Atlanta on lap 79.
One of those decisions, I'm sure, made just to try to make sure everyone gets rolling here. We have had a couple of incidents on restarts here tonight. So this should hopefully let everyone get rolling here a little bit better. As Rader, Alves, and Diaz have kind of opened up the gap here just a little bit. And Dakota Floyd. The top 4 with a little bit of separation from Bennett back in 5th.
So with the single file restart, that might influence these guys to wait and be a little more patient, but we're past halfway. I don't think that's going to work. The Gals peeks to the outside there. You mentioned it earlier, a few of these guys peeking to the outside. I don't think it's always voluntary here, Alex. I think this car is very loose tonight.
Yeah, certainly seems like it, as Alves almost had a chance to dive to the inside of Rader there. We know the 53 likes a bit of a wider release coming off of 4, and the 24 nearly was able to get alongside him there. Wonder if that's something that Rader's going to try to keep an eye on here and maybe reduce his angle coming off of 4 a little bit. See, they are flying by here. The laps are flying by, too. 50 laps to go here from Atlanta. Nick Alves again going to hold that inside line. Roeder again, big swing back to close the door. You can only do that so many times, though, I think, before something's going to happen. You know, Bradley, at some point here, the 24 is going to get that run he's looking for, or the 53 is going to have to stop, you know, floating up to that middle lane off the corner. I know it's getting him some good speed, but if the 24 even gets there once and the 53 tries coming down like that, it's going to be catastrophe up at the front of the field.
That hole that you want to stick your nose in, there it is. It presents itself, and eventually you're going to figure out, okay, I'll follow him up there and then dive to the inside.
Of course, easier said than done, needing the help of the draft, but it looks like Diaz has been pretty lockstep here with Alves the past few laps, so I got to imagine if the 24 gets that run, the 26 might follow him through.
Look at this split here. It's Brandon Richardson back here, leading this second group in 15th position. Richardson doesn't appear to have damage, so I'm not sure if something went wrong on this restart, but they lost a ton of ground as we'll ride on board with the driver of the number 8. They're progressing their way back up here, but that's a pretty sizable gap. It's about 2 seconds up to Trevor Earhart. I don't know what happened here, Alex.
I don't know either. We were watching that battle up front, not entirely sure what would have caused this separation unless people just didn't get going quite right on the restart. But either way, Brandon Richardson, in this case, probably to his dismay, has a lot of open racetrack in front of him as they're trying to reel in this lead pack. And, you know, if this thing stays green, they will need to make one more stop to make it to the end. But that's a lot of distance to make up. It looks like they're getting a little bit closer, but, you know, easier said than done.
Last lap times by, you look there in the 15th position, a 30.26. And that is a little bit faster than the lead pack. So they are chipping away, but it's going to take a few laps for them to get back up here. 1.7 seconds now, so 3/10 in these last 2 laps we've been talking about it. So it is working. The 10 of Kyle Stewart giving the shove at Brandon Richardson. Let's see what it is this time by. It's like a 30 flat, which is another 10th off, and continue to gain.
That's what you're going to need to do, you know, just keep chipping away at it, keep single file, and then you can fan out once you catch that draft. But, you know, it's just a matter of getting there first. And there is 3 different packs that have kind of formed here. Let's take a look here. This is that third group, and that's led by Nelson, who has been pretty quick today, but had some crazy damage from that previous incident. So don't know if that car is 100%.
I'll venture to say that the 31 had to burn a fast repair, but you saw how long it took him to gather his thoughts back up and get that car to pit road. 31 went a lap down. He's actually 2 laps down now for Jeremiah Nelson. Daniel Holloway a lap down. Michael Reed a lap down. Michael Reed would be the recipient of the free pass, a lucky pass position if a caution does come out. That group is still catching. I mean, they're down to 1.5, well, just below 1.5. And I think if they get down to that 1 second margin, they'll have the draft from Trevor Earhart. They'll be able to pull up pretty quickly. This time by another 10th, maybe? Yeah.
Yeah, they're getting there. You know, if they keep chipping off a 10th a lap, in about 5 laps or so here, they'll be able to catch the tail end of the draft here of Earhart. And then from there, you know, they'll pull kind of right up to that lead group once they get there. And that's going to benefit this entire group. That's why this second group has run so single file. It's because it's in all of their best interests to get reconnected with the main pack. And then once they get there, you know, they can start fighting for position without the fear of falling back like this. But they got to get there first. Because if they start battling for position now, you know, they're basically guaranteeing themselves that they'll be stuck battling for 15th at best.
There's a look at the title sponsor for tonight's race, North Nashville Collision. Adding with the 8 of Richardson. And the push from the orange speed number 10 as we continue. Lap 92 out of 130. It's crunch time now. Under 40 to go. Most likely going to see our last round of green flag pit stops within the next 5 to 6 laps.
You know, fun fact about this race last year, we've been watching a lot of that second pack and trying to see if Richardson and company there are going to catch this main group. Brandon Richardson is the defending race winner here from Echo Park.
Yeah.
He won the spring race here in season 5, so he knows what it takes to get the job done here. And if they catch this lead group, which it looks like they might here in a couple of laps, who knows? At that point, everyone's connected. There's another round of pit stops to go. He's very much a possibility here to try to defend that title from a year ago.
Riding on board with Kevin Orlando Jr. There's the 54 of Caleb Gilbert. Everybody was worried about the 54 a moment ago. They have caught the draft. They're within a second now.
Yeah, they are pulling right up to the back bumper of Earhart here, and this 14-car lead pack is going to turn into an over 20-car lead pack now. As you see, yeah, there's the gap. It is no longer existing as Richardson is at the back bumper of Trevor Earhart. And this is the moment where if you're this second pack, you start to feel that relief of like, all right, cool, we're there. We've caught this group. Now we can start figuring out what the move is to try to make up some positions. Because now you have some more draft to rely on here that gets you right up to the leader. Is Kyle Stewart going to take advantage of that immediately? He jumps to the high side here. He's looking for position now that they've caught that draft. Unfortunately for him, I don't think anybody went with him.
Yeah, and the 54 of Caleb Gilbert ends up picking a spot up over that. I think that run kind of went stagnant on the backstretch where they had originally caught up, and if you were going to make that move, you had to go with Richardson to carry that momentum. But even then, I think it's going to probably stall out somewhere around the 8th or 9th position, and then you're gonna play that cat and mouse game that we saw earlier with Rob Rader trying to get around on the outside. You're gonna have to have a different line. You're gonna have to pinch and side draft so much. I don't think now's the right time. We have green flag pit stops coming up. You've caught back up, execute pit road, do your best that you have all race.
Yeah, and in the next couple laps here, they'll be in a spot where whenever they come down to fuel up for the last time, they'll have enough fuel to make it to the end. So that window for the final stop, you could argue might be open now. They might just have to save a little bit to get there. But they could go a few more laps here, come down pit road, and then they'd have enough fuel to go all out to the end of this thing. I have a feeling that's what a lot of these guys are thinking. It's just a question of who's going to blink first. Because the moment someone decides they're coming down pit road, I have a feeling everyone within a lap or two is going to be doing the same. Because no one wants to get caught off on an island with no draft support in this last stage of the race.
Not a lot of islands in Atlanta, but there will be if you don't execute pit road. Watching Rob Rader cycle through here, still taking that wide approach to the entry of 1 and the exit of 4. Nick Alves has been quite patient, but there it is again. Rob Rader moving up the racetrack. 53 again. When do they come down to pit? It'll be 30 to go in just a couple laps. Haven't seen any takers yet.
Now everyone's been pretty stoic about it.
Rewind.
Yeah, this back group, they've decided that the time is now to try to make up positions before the pit cycle. Caleb Gilbert, Jeremy Burns, Grant Thorpe working the high side with Holloway now ducking in as well. On board here with the 9. But right now they are going the wrong direction. You see Orlando and Lycan start to put some distance on him here. Curious to see what the plan is here for these workers. If people are thinking about coming down pit road in the next couple laps, they got to find their way to the bottom of the racetrack. You're not going to really be able to make a move for pit road from the high side. Otherwise, you're going to end up in the inside wall. And Another lap goes by. It looks like everyone's going to stay out for now. And I would say next time by, it is confirmed that everyone can go all out if they top off on fuel and can make it to the end. No questions about it.
34 laps on this stint. 30 laps, 29 now to go. At Atlanta, Rob Roeder with the lead. Nick Alves, Kyle Diaz, Dakota Floyd, your stage 1 winner. Michael Bennett, here we come down pit road. That's a lot of cars at the same time.
Big group. The important thing here is you just can't afford a speeding penalty. No matter what you do, you have to get down below the limit, get into that yellow cone, because a black flag here will end your race. And here comes everyone down pit road. Doesn't look like anyone's locked it up. Ben Lafter trying to fight his way back inside the yellow cone. No speeding penalties entering, though. That's a good sign for this lead pack.
Second group's going to stay out an additional lap. Rob Roeder, Dakota Floyd, Diaz, Robinson, Ritchie, Alves, Pennington, all down pit road. Pennington has done a fantastic job. This could be his night. So we'll go around another cycle. Caleb Gilbert going to lead his first lap of the day. He had to defend hard.
Yeah, he's trying to play the lines right now as Burns dives to the inside. Gilbert right there with him to close it off. And here they get to the inside of the racetrack. Got to imagine this is the time down pit road. Nope, doesn't seem like it. They're going to stay out another lap or so. As those first group of cars are now... Yeah, I'm about to say the second, that first group is just starting to cycle back onto the racetrack, and they're a little splintered at the moment. They are a little spaced out, so they're going to have to accordion back together here, start picking up some of that speed.
Lenz with right sides only on the 66. Kyle Diaz, 10.8 in the box. Saw a lot of right-hand only tires here, and Rob Roeder took 4, so that's, you know, he got down into the pit box with probably a 2 or 3 car length gap over Nick Alves and Dakota Floyd, but then it translates over to that extra 4.5 seconds into the pit box. Gonna stay out with Grant Thorpe now in the lead. He's gonna lead the first time here today. So a lot of these drivers getting an opportunity at some bonus points.
Yeah, big opportunity. Try to pick up a couple extra points, set yourself up for this last run of the race. See Ben Lafter cycling back onto the track here after a long stop. Not sure if he got held for a speeding penalty or if he just had a slow stop, but he was on pit road significantly longer than the rest of that opening group.
Yeah, I would say a speeding penalty. He had 54.6 in the box there. And that tells me there was a hold for speeding on the entrance of pit lane. Side by side, there's the 10. Not in this group, not cycled for position, but that's Kyle Stewart down on the inside trying to get his lap back as they go knuckles deep here.
Yeah, and this lead group, about 8 or 9 cars, they're just hitting now about 30 or 31 laps on their stint. So they should start thinking about coming down pit road within the next couple of laps here to make it to the end. They were able to go a little bit further because they pit a little bit later than that initial group. But they're within the next couple laps here, I would have to say, by in the next 2 or 3. But here comes a group coming down pit road. A little further on back. I think that was that group that we had been watching in between these two. Yeah, the group that was led by the 87 of Hamitat, that whole sector is now coming down pit road. Second big group. And now Kyle Stewart is trying to hold on to that top spot. As here comes everyone else down pit road. Trying to get this stop just right to give yourself a chance. Michael Reed sliding there. Saves it, though. Here we go to the entrance. Caleb Gilbert, a little bit of lockup as well.
Excellent execution on pit road.
Looks like a black flag for Grant Turner, who was up on that previous group here with Pamitat. So the 39 is going to have a hold for speeding as well.
Michael Call into his stall as well. Right sides go up. Will we see right sides only for the 5? Looks like right sides only for the 9. We'll top off with enough fuel to make it to the end of this race. Right side seemed to be the call for the most part. Alex Forget down pit road.
And with that, just about the whole field, I believe, at this point has cycled through. And we'll see where everyone slots out here. You see, there's Caleb Gilbert trying to get back up to speed. Does he try to throw a block? No, that closing rate's far too vast. So Kyle Diaz to the point here with Robinson and Roeder the top three. So a little bit of a change there, as Roeder, I believe, was leading before this pit cycle began. And now it's Diaz who's up at the front of this.
Here's a driver that won stage one. He has a lot of stage wins, but he has no victories here in Racing Revolution. And again, I will draw your attention to the top 10 video. He's came close several times. Go back and watch the highlights of season 5. Dakota Floyd really turned up the heat. But he is just shy. He has a lot of runner-up finishes here in Racing Rev in the Chapman Cup Series. Is today the day for the 57?
Sheldon Creed broke his winless streak in the O'Reilly Series on Saturday night here at Atlanta. Potentially the same opportunity in front of Dakota Floyd here tonight. Currently running in the 5th position now with the final round of pit stops done. Diaz, Robinson, Roeder, your top three. You got Nick Alves there, and I think Alves and Roeder might be trying to cook something up here to get back to the front. I believe the two of them part of the same team, or at least in the same Discord here, so they might be trying to figure out the move. Is Roeder to the inside of Robinson. Advantageous. Dives on in. Robinson tried to close the door on Alves, couldn't do it. And now he's stuck up on the high side here with no help. Luckily for him, this lead pack's only about 8 or 9 cars, so he won't fall too far. But definitely a tough break for the 11.
And if you're Robinson right now, you're probably thinking, man, that was a lot more aggression than I thought there would be. We still have just over 20 laps or under 20 laps to go. I didn't think that Rob Roeder would do that to me. And now I'm cycled back. I'm continuing to hemorrhage spots. I'm at the tail end of this group. And how did Jeremy Burns get up here? I mean, he was in that second pack, deep in that second pack with the 54.
Yeah, it was him and Caleb Gilbert. Both of them were in that second pack before the pit cycle, and they were able to catch on to this lead group when they were trying to get back up to speed. Some quick stops allowed them the opportunity here to try to get into the mix. So they're going to be part of the 8 cars who, if this stays green, are really going to be in contention to try to win this thing. 9th is Parker Johnson. You can see that second pack just off on the right side of your screen. We're on board here with the 9. Currently runs in the 8th spot, the last car in this lead group. And a lot of composure right now in the face of the double-digit win counter race winner from last year. He, I think, finished with 11 or 12 of them last season, so he knows what it takes to get it done here in the Chapman Cup Series. And right now, biding his time, just knows that the moment is not quite yet here with 15 to go.
Then the contrast to where Jeremy Burns had problems at all of these super speedways last season to where he is now. This race stays green. He's got a solid top 10 finish. I think this is good for the 9, especially after last week where he got the late start. He was 23 laps down. He never could get back on the lead lap. Never had the caution cycle the way he needed them to. And 23 laps, that's a big ask at Daytona, even with multiple cautions.
Yeah, absolutely. As you see, Diaz kind of slides his way in here. He had got cycled out of the lead. He catches himself here in the 7th spot, but that means Rob Roeder back to the point. Nick Alves back in 2nd. So 1st and 2nd, similar to what we were seeing before this green flag stop now. But it's now Floyd and Linz here running 3rd and 4th. We'll take a look at the replay to see what happened to Kyle Diaz that caused him to lose the lead here coming out of 4.
I think it's going to be similar to what happened to the 11. Rob Roeder's been hypnotizing drivers that he's going to choose the outside and run, half a lane up off that red line. And then suddenly he dives to the inside. Watch him do it again. Right here?
Yeah, fake it. Just a little bit of a fake to the outside. And well, it wasn't.
Not that time.
I thought it was there going in the one, but maybe it's this lap.
I mean, okay, so there. He hypnotized the 26. This is my line. This is where I want to be. But he's getting momentum in the process. And then watch this. He's going to get a huge run coming off the quad oval. I'm going to go to your right. No, I'm not.
Yeah, got same way he got the second place spot from Robinson. Little over under. Gets to the inside going in the one. Now he's got the lead. Next time around, it'll be 10 laps to go. Roeder, Alves, Floyd, your top three. Lins and Caleb Gilbert. What a recovery it's been for the 54 Caleb Gilbert. That's a car that we had not talked about maybe until about 15 minutes ago. And now with 10 to go, he is in the top 5 battling for the win here at Echo Park.
We didn't talk about him, but the chat was surely upset.
Yeah, chat certainly knew what was up, and now maybe he was hearing what chat had to say, because he has really gotten on the horse here in the last 30 laps or so and has put himself in contention to win this race.
Ruth Ann in the chat, the radar gun has gotten Michael Reed twice now. I think it's the paint. I don't think it's the radar gun. I think it's the reflective paint on the 91 car giving false readings to that radar gun. He's 3 laps down now with 2 speeding penalties in this. And that's Atlanta. You know, you come down pit road. We talked about it in the pre-race. It's so difficult because you enter pit road in turn 3, but you're still at race speed. As long as you can keep it down there on that apron and you don't cross that line, you can run it as hard as you want to. But you better stop before you get to that yellow cone. So it's a little bit of an unorthodox entry. It goes through the entirety of 3 and 4, where a lot of these mile-and-a-half tracks, you come into pit road about turn 4 and slow down all at one time.
So here we go. Next time around, I believe it'll be 7 laps to go here at Atlanta. Roeder and Alves content to run 1-2 at the moment. I've got to imagine the first the first move here is going to have to come from either 3rd or 4th. Dakota Floyd, Carter Lins, I think the two of them are going to have to figure something out here to work on that outside and try to make something happen past the 24 and the 53 if they want to get up there until it's the last lap. When it hits this last lap, the 24 might, jump ship and try to make something happen for the race win here. But if they're trying to do anything before that, I think the move is going to have to come from 3rd or further on back. Got to imagine when we hit about 5 laps to go, some of these guys at the tail end of the line might start thinking about making it too wide, trying to get any sort of momentum going here to make it a multi-line race.
There's a look at your lead pack coming up on 5 laps to go. Rob Roeder in the lead. Like you said, I think the move's probably going to start back here with Lins and Floyd. I don't think the 24 could afford to move to the outside right now. Rob Roeder's just been really good about defense and running a proper line out of 4. There's really no outside because of the way the 53 has been running. So it's going to take probably a 2 or 3 car length gap and get that momentum built up.
Yeah. And the tough part, especially if you're Nick Alves right now, is that if you were to be the one to make that move to the outside, Dakota Floyd's just going to plug the hole that you left there on the inside for 2nd and take over that spot. And then he gets to go one-on-one with the 53. So you're kind of just waiting for someone to do something here if you're Nick Alves or Rob Roeder. And if you're the further back cars in this pack, Robinson, Burns, Diaz, at some point, one of them is going to have to, blink here and try to step out of line to make something happen if they want to go for the race win here. 4 laps to go. They don't have a ton of time left. When they come back across the line, there'll be 3 laps to go. It's basically going to be a minute and a half to settle this thing out as Diaz now going to jump to the outside. He's the first one to try to make that move.
Will the 9 of Jeremy Burns go with him? No, he will not. He's going to... caution.
Caution's out.
Late caution.
Boy. Smoke there. Looks like Justice Murphy's around. I think Michael Call's slowed up. Oh, man, we are setting up now for Chapman Cup Series overtime from Atlanta. Just as we thought we had an idea of where this race was headed, it took a big turn here coming out of turn 4. Michael Call, Justice Murphy, and I want to say Trevor Earhart, who all gets caught up in this one.
He gets loose. I think a tag there. We saw that earlier in the race where...
Yeah, same deal as Nelson.
Yeah,
Nelson and Harrison.
Earhart picks up damage in the aftermath. with 3 laps to go, this caution comes out. Let's look at it one more time from our blimp camera. Drivers should be good on fuel, but for some of those guys like Gilbert and Burns who had just enough time in the box and caught up to this front pack, we use that second green-white checkered. I'm a little bit worried. Those guys took just enough fuel to make it to the end of this race.
Yeah, definitely something to consider here in this pack. Because we're pacing under yellow, you're not burning as much fuel as it was under race pace. But, every lap that we tack onto this is fuel that was not accounted for in the initial math. And, some of them may have stayed an extra second in the box to try to get enough fuel for an overtime. But if there's 2 overtimes, did they account for that? It's the extra miles. At the end of the day, even under yellow, the extra miles are going to win every time, even if you're burning the fuel at a slightly slower rate here.
North Nashville Collision 200 at Echo Park Speedway will continue. Green-white checkered attempt number 1 when we come back here on Vspeed. You're watching the Chapman Cup Series.
JS Racing. We're in the game.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
Hey Dad, did you know that replacing your cooling system reduces repair costs and improves energy efficiency? Plus, it operates more efficiently, which means more money in my pocket. I mean, your pocket. Hey Dad, did you know that a new cooling system is less noisy and has a smart thermostat you can control from your phone?
How'd you get so smart?
Must be from Mom.
When it comes to your home's most important decisions, make the smart choice and trust your local Cedar Rapids Pro partner. We're in your neighborhood, so call today.
Back here live with 2 laps to go at Atlanta. It was a quiet green flag run for most of the second half of this race. Pretty much around lap 75, we went back green. 2 cycles of green flag pit stops. Now we're sitting in the green-white checkered, so everything that we thought could happen means nothing. This whole field is grouped back up, and it's going to be Rob Roeder starting on the outside on older tires. A lot of these drivers took 2. We might see some wheel spin on this restart.
Yeah, I believe they extended this for 1 more lap here. Make sure this field is fully stacked up. There was some folks, I think, trying to catch back up to the pack. So getting ready to try it again here. Roeder and Alves, Floyd and Linz, Caleb Gilbert, Matt Robinson. And this is interesting. Alves and Roeder have worked so good together most of the day. But now they line up side by side here. Got to imagine, Roeder's taking the high side here, but, people historically, they've dropped down to the inside pretty quick through most of this race. Does that give Alves an advantageous place to be, especially if he gets a good push here from the 57?
It's a toss-up here. We've seen moves to the outside. We've seen moves to the inside at this racetrack. But today, I think that with the way the inside line has got going on every one of these restarts, it's going to be a tall order. However, command car's on the outside now, so I know nothing.
Yeah,
I know nothing.
That's kind of where I'm at too. Everything I thought I knew about this race, kind of toss it out the window, and at this point, you just pull the belts tight, floor this thing when the green flag comes out, and hope that you're the one who gets there first, and then one boost.
Overtime attempt number 1 here for Racing Revolution in the Chapman Cup Series, race number 2 of season 6. Rob Roeder, Nick Alves, a big jump out for the 53, back underway for what could be the final restart of the evening.
That was a great launch for the 53. Carter Linz is going to capitalize and move into second. Here comes the run, though. Here comes the pack. Does the 66 make a move out of 2?
He's going to have a big head of steam. There's a block.
Oh, he tried it.
We're going to overtime again.
Block. Oh, big wreck. Ambitious move, ambitious block, more ambitious move, more ambitious block, and wreck going into turn 3. Boy, oh boy.
Fantastic save there from Dakota Floyd, though. This one almost got signed off.
Yeah, that was crazy. Linz had a crazy run. Roeder threw the block. Linz tried carrying the run to the other side of the racetrack. Roeder tried throwing the bigger block and just couldn't quite get there in time. Little bump high block, and then it's right there going back low. That's where it all comes unglued.
There was things happening after this. Lynn's got caught up in multiple things. Back this up again.
So there's the initial bit of contact. There's how the yellow comes out, and then as he tries to get back onto the racetrack here, gets caught up with Alves and with Robinson. And that's Parker Johnston, who was streaking free and away there. I don't think he'll cycle to the front here because the yellow came out before that. He's going to have, by far, though, the least damaged car of anyone in the top 10.
We need to take it on board with this cat right here. On board with 8 of Brandon Richardson. Watch this.
Spring winner from Echo Park last year had a front row seat to the carnage here off of 2. You see the cars going left, you see the smoke, and then everything just starts happening in front of him here. A little bit of contact, but boy, he'll take that every time. That could have been a whole lot worse. So he was able to shoot the gap.
Yeah, I think he's okay here. A little bit of right front damage, but could have been a lot worse for the 8. He's going to come down and actually repair this car, so it might be worse than I thought. I thought he had actually snuck through it. And, I mean, this is good news for some of these drivers that have been trapped a lap down. You're going to get a free pass here, but a black flag. Fred Pennington has a black flag. I don't know. He must have got caught speeding on pit road.
Yeah, him and Alex Forget both scored with a black flag right now. A couple of other black and orange meatball flags here. Grant Turner and Trevor Earhart both getting damage repaired. So this is going to cycle Matt Robinson to the front. That car, though, has damage. So does the 66 of Linz. So does the 24 of Alves in third. First car who I think got through that unscathed was the 48 of Parker Johnston. Then you've got Richie, Orlando, Thorpe, Murphy, Likens, and Picklesheimer in the top 10. Don't look now, but the Daytona winner back in the mix all of a sudden.
Yep. Dylan Picklesheimer, who was destroyed in the first incident of this race. In the top 10, going to restart on the outside of Dakota Floyd. Got the 31 here or 13 rather of Alves or Al Likens there in the mix. A lot of hungry cars back here for green flag number 2, green white checkered attempt. I don't know.
And I believe this is our final attempt at it.
Yeah.
So next flag, once they go green, next flag will end the race, whether it's the checkered or the yellow. So this is going to be interesting. They only got to about the middle of the backstretch last time, and we saw that happen with how far Roeder got out in front. So there's the little side-by-side shot here, I believe, of a couple of the cars in the top 5.
Actually, that top 3 there with the 66, the 24. I'm interested to see how they react here to this final restart. Who's going to be celebrating and who's going to be upset?
Here we go.
One more time around in Atlanta. A big jump here for Matt Robinson. Can he hold on to the race lead? He needs a yellow or a checkered flag in the front. Big run here for Alves.
Yeah, the field's coming to him fast here off of 2, just like what we saw with Roeder and Linz a moment ago. Alves gets to the back bumper. Big shove down the backstretch, though. Justin Ritchie trying to find a place to pop out. Can't quite do it. Now here goes Linz to the high side for second. As they come off of turn 4, white flag in the air, this time by.
Presented by Earhart Homes. You saw the 24 lag back a little bit here. Trying to get that run built up, but he still has a car to the outside. Will they take it 3 wide off of turn 4? Robinson with the shove. Linz on the outside. Race is official. One more set of corners here at Atlanta. And the 11 of Matt Robinson has no contest. Matt Robinson as they wreck across the line. Matt Robinson wins race 2 of season 6.
Yeah, that's a big wreck behind him. Matt Robinson, though, gets the job done. What a win for Matt Robinson. Big rally back. The pole sitter, you know, he started first, finished first, but boy, he didn't really run there a lot of the night. Was in the top 5, got shuffled out a little bit, and you know, here we are.
And somehow, and this is a look at your third place finisher, Grant Thorpe. 28 positions gained.
Grant Thorpe, 28 places gained. What a rally for the 77. Nick Alves going to bring it home second. But Matt Robinson, your winner here tonight. He won the Daytona race back in the summer last year. Now winning here at Echo Park. We're starting to see maybe a new super speedway ringer here in the 11.
So burn it down on the front stretch celebrations. I don't think there's going to be an engine left in this car. It's a heck of a burnout, Robinson.
Yeah, he is. He is letting them know.
Fantastic drive there. No one contests him, and he puts it on the top spot from the pole. How many times has that happened here at Echo Park since the reconfiguration? So while we have a moment here, we're going to go back on this instant replay, and we'll round those drivers up in just a moment. But let's take a look back here at this final couple laps.
Yeah, so this is, as they make their way down the backstretch here with 2 laps to go, you see how much energy that inside lane had. Really got Robinson off to a good place here. Got a bit of a gap over Alves. The field comes roaring back, and this is where I was wondering if we were going to see a move. You see Linz fights back, nice little side draft as they go into turn 1. This was just a tough situation because with Linz and Alves side by side for second, neither one of them could really make a move on Robinson, and that worked out huge for the 11.
Yeah, and even with Alves having that little bit of damage, he's tucked up in tight there behind him, and then we have this wreck coming out of the corner. Puts Linz into the wall, and ends up, Grant Thorpe gains 3-4 spots out of that. Kevin Orlando ends up with a top 5. He was back at 9th.
Yeah, he gets a top 5 out of it. Picklesheimer bumps from 10th to 6th there in that last little stretch. So it was a wild finish and ultimately a tough break there. Parker Johnson drops to 8th. Justin Ritchie drops to 9th. Carter Linz actually is going to get scored in the 16th position unofficially after he was running in the top 3 or 4 there coming off of turn 4. So huge implications in the points there for the 66. But what a race, what a finish. Robinson able to hold on as everyone was more or less really fighting for that spot behind him.
I think this is the moment here to pull up our winner as he pulls into victory lane. We have Matt Robinson in the number 11 getting it done here today at Atlanta. Congratulations. You started on the pole, and I think statistically that's the worst place to be at any time we go super speedway racing, but somehow you figured out a way to pull it off.
Yeah, it's a fantastic win. It really is. It was really, really, really much needed. I feel great starting off the season this way.
Well, you go back to the beginning of this race, you had got cycled out of the lead very early. You went into turn 1, come out of turn 2, and suddenly you're back in 3rd spot. Now you're playing recovery. You start finding, okay, this car is going to get loose, and we had green flag pit stops. There were so many things that could have went wrong throughout this race. And then the ultimate thing that could have went wrong. A caution comes out with 3 to go, and you're thinking, oh boy.
Yeah, so actually the move at the beginning of the race was by plan. I started in 2nd gear. I did not want to be leading because we only had roughly 32 laps of fuel and stage was at lap 30. There's no shot I would have made it to stage had I been out front leading and we went green flag the whole time. So that was actually by plan. I did not want to lead right off the get-go or for multiple laps. The caution at the end would have been interesting because we had a lot of teammates up front. EXR had a couple teammates up front. It would have been interesting in that final pack of 8 if that caution didn't fly.
Yeah, and we were starting to talk about the moves that were about to happen. We had Nick Alves and, of course, Rob Roeder up there in the front, kind of controlling the tempo. And then you had you guys there in the middle of that group that were getting ready to make your moves with 3 laps left. I think that was like the window for you guys.
Yeah, we were going to make our move 2 to go going into 1. I was going to try and get to the outside of Caleb. We had Carter in front of me, and I had Burns behind me, and we were just going to try and ride the outside. And Dakota could have gone with us. He could have stayed low. It would have been interesting to see what happens. I mean, I'm very happy with the way it turned out,
Obviously.
so I can't really complain.
Yeah, you can't complain at all about this. This is a win here in week number 2. The 11 of Matt Robinson proving statistically you can get it done at these super speedways and the draft cars. But one more thing before we let you go, Matt. Anybody you have to shout out in the 11 team?
Yeah. Shout out to my parents that watch every week. Shout out to all my teammates, my umbrella, the state Storm Club Motorsports. You guys are fantastic. I got a new sponsor on the car this year. It's Anselmo Textiles, which is for my grandmother who passed away at 102 in December. It's her last name, and she was a seamstress for forever. So it's an ode to her and a shout out to her. And it's just a really, really big year for me this year. Means a lot to ride with her name on the front. And I'm just glad it's worked out so far.
Well, Matt, we have to turn right next week. We're going on to Circuit of the Americas. I know that that's a racetrack that you kind of like and kind of hate at the same time, as long as people stay away from you and don't do anything crazy. But we look forward to seeing you there in 7 days next Wednesday.
Sounds good. I appreciate you guys. Have a good night.
Race winner, Matt Robinson in the number 11. And we still have the white flag graphic up on the screen. I guess I got so focused in there. Sometimes you get locked in here, Alex, and we're only on week 2. We'll get it right by week 5, I promise.
Yeah, there was a lot to unpack there with the big wreck right at the checkered. I get it.
Well, we're going to take a quick break here while we round up the rest of your top 3 and those final race results just before that. But that's going to wrap it up here for the racing. We'll get a moment here and a word from our sponsors. You are watching the Chapman Cup Series. Back with more on Vspeed in just a moment.
Racing. We're in the game.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
Hey Dad, did you know that replacing your cooling system reduces repair costs and improves energy efficiency? Plus, it operates more efficiently, which means more money in my pocket. I mean, your pocket. Hey Dad, did you know that a new cooling system is less noisy and has a smart thermostat you can control from your phone?
How'd you get so smart?
Must be from Mom.
When it comes to your home's most important decisions, make the smart choice and trust your local Cedar Rapids Pro partner. We're in your neighborhood, so call today.
Back here live, Chapman Cup Series has concluded week number 2, 137 laps. Both green-white checkers were expired here this evening, and Matthew Robinson gets the victory overall. Stage 1 winner, Dakota Floyd, he's going to end up outside the top 10. But the final race results coming up on your screen after 8 cautions and 16 lead changes. There's your top 3. We'll get a word with Nick Alves and Grant Thorpe, I believe. Alex Gagnon going to catch up with the 24. Governor Orlando ends up with the top 5 there in that last lap crash coming off of the quad oval. Al Likens gets 5th position. Dylan Picklesheimer, fantastic job. I mean, I got to shake that guy's hand. He stayed with it. He didn't quit. Put it out there in the 33. He's going to get 6. Michael Call going to finish in 7th. And a shout out there to Michael Call. We try to do our best there to honor. Going to be Parker Johnson there in the 8th position. Justin Ritchie, who got caught up in that incident. Then you have the 81 rounding out your top 10.
Looking back to 11th here, Tyler Harrison in the 45 will bring it home in spot number 11, just ahead of Justice Murphy, finishing 12th. Dakota Floyd, tough finish to what was an otherwise good day for the 57. He'll finish 13th, just ahead of Rob Roeder, who led on that second to last green-white checkered. Brandon Pamitat will finish in the 15th spot, number 87. The Carter Lynn's Machine will finish in 16th, just ahead of Sam Taylor, who'd led some laps today. Caleb Gilbert ran as high as 3rd, but he'll finish 18th here tonight, just ahead of Malcolm Simpson and Jeremy Burns, who rounds out the top 20.
21st spot's going to go to Trevor Keith. No pit barrels here today, but the 21st spot after starting in 10th, Brandon Richardson will finish in 22nd. He had worked his way around this field back to front several times. Joe Joya will finish in 23rd. Kyle Stewart in 24th. Michael Bennett, heavy damage on the 25th position driver. Then you have Jeremiah Nelson in 26th. Fred Pennington with a black flag. He'll end up a lap down as well. It's Grant Turner, who got a speeding penalty on that last cycle. Alex Forget Berube and Daniel Holloway, the Candyman, going to round out the top 30. 8 or 7 more cars to talk about. Ben Laughter, man, luck continues here for the super speedways. I'm sure we'll see him up in the top 10 at some point this season. Michael Reed never could get out of that 3 laps down with the free passes. just not enough time left. Kyle Diaz, how many laps did that guy lead here today? He's going to finish 33rd. Trevor Earhart, Jacob Sirkovich. Then you have Hayden James, who was in the chat there a moment ago. Christopher Schaefer rounding out your 37-car field at Atlanta. But Alex, I believe you are marching down pit road, and if you're not marching, you're probably walking. I don't know what the proper pace is here at Atlanta, but you have caught up with our second place finisher, Nick Alves.
That I have. Bring him on in. Hey there, Nick. This is Alex and Bradley up in the booth. You got a copy?
I do.
I'll tell you what. The moment you got that number 24 machine up into the top 3, it was glued there the rest of the night, whether it was battling for the lead or at least in the mix here through the pit cycles. Talk to us, though, before we get to the green-white checkers. Talk to us just a little bit about your night, starting in the back and kind of working your way forward.
Yeah, so our team didn't do any qualifying prep like we did in Daytona, so we were lucky enough to start in the back, which was all right, but it was more so just trying to pick our spots, make up time on pit road, and what I did and Rob and Caleb and Alex and a couple of other guys did was before the stage, the caution that happened before the stage where it was with outside the 5 lap mark for the stage, and we came in, took tires, full fuel. So when the stage happened, we just came down fuel only, and that's how I ended up in the top 5. And then Rob and I just basically worked together the entire time, just taking guys out one by one by sneaking under them, just drafting together. He would just save his tires by blipping the throttle going into 1 and 3. He'd enter a little bit high to save his tires. I'd stay down low to get clean air so I don't have to drift up the track the same as him and save my tires. But it was going great up until we were in that little pack of 6 people, and then the caution came out, and then the first attempt, we were talking, and he was going to take the top, and I was going to take the bottom. He'd count me down like he normally does, and we'd go off together. But what ended up happening, I wasn't aware of how bad the tires were going to be on the restart. So I only started in second gear because first gear restarts, we were nervous if it was going to have wheel spin or not. And I started in second gear, which got Maddie and Carter that jump that they did. So I kind of screwed over Rob by not being there to assist him. And then he made his bunch of blocks over there. So that's how I ended up there. And then we got to the actual green white checker to end it all. And I knew I had to start in first gear. If I didn't, I wouldn't get the jump. I knew also, since Maddie and Carter were teammates, I have to make sure I'm on Maddie's bumper. I can't let Carter get in front of me. And as soon as me and Maddie were glued together, I stuck with him the entire time. And taking the white flag, I noticed that Carter was still on my quarter panel, and I was thinking to myself in 1 and 2, the only way I can get past Maddie, because Richie was on my bumper, he was pushing me down the entire backstretch, and I knew if I could get to Maddie's bumper and just push him into 3, it'd send him up the track a little bit. But he must have had a lot fresher tires than I did, because I did exactly that, and he hung on to the bottom. But I guess it was karma, because he pushed me to the Daytona win last year, and I get to push him to another super speedway win. So I guess it comes full circle.
And both of you guys have found a ton of success here on these drafting tracks as of late. Obviously tonight, looking for that one more spot, but still a strong run for you nonetheless. Is there something about super speedway racing that really lends itself to your skills, or is it just a matter of, good teamwork and being in the right place at the right time?
I think there's a little bit of skill in it. I mean, granted, you need teammates around you and all the guys on performance and EXR that work together so well. So you always see us always together. But I mean, you gotta have a constant eye of what's going on around you with the different runs that are coming. You have to understand the difference of you being on someone's bumper, side draft. I mean, there's a whole bunch that goes in, a lot more skill at Atlanta here than in Daytona last week. But I mean, if you can juggle the lines and understand the different runs that are happening, and I mean, I had a great teacher. His he's no longer here, but James Loveland, he taught me a lot about 2 years ago about super speedway racing, and I've just kept that the entire time, and it's just a constant just working with your team the entire night.
And I'll tell you what, those have really been paying off. I feel like every time we get to one of these super speedway races, we see you up in the mix, much like tonight. But Nick, while we have a second here, anyone you'd like to shout out here on the runner-up finish tonight?
Yeah, I appreciate you guys always showing up every single night, and I always enjoy watching back the broadcast. And you guys do a great job, so I appreciate everything that you guys do, especially with all the upgrades you guys made to the broadcast. So thank you, Chapman Environmental Services, for sponsoring the league. They've been the premier sponsor for the last 6 seasons now, so they're doing great job over there. Lynn's Heating and Air Conditioning, All About Bugs, Air Out Homes, and then KLD from me, and then shout out to my team, Performance and EXR. We always work great together. Great guys, great teammates, great vibes every single night. And I think I got a couple of people watching in the chat, so appreciate you guys coming out watching this. And one position short, but if I have to lose to anybody, I'm glad to lose to Maddie. He's a great dude.
All righty. Well, Nick, thank you so much for dropping by. Congrats on the second place finish here tonight, and we will catch you next week at Coda.
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks.
And that is your second place finisher here tonight, Nick Alves, in the number 24 machine.
One more driver to talk to in your top three. It's your third place finisher, Grant Thorpe. Grant, I know you were watching that all back there and trying to figure out how did I get here? I was running around the 6th, 7th position, coming out of turn 4, and then suddenly everyone disappeared around me, and here I am with the top 3. You ran outside the top 5 for most of this race. You led some laps during those pit cycles, but it always seemed like the Dollar General 77 was behind the 8 ball, and then suddenly everything worked out.
Yeah, I've just kind of thrown in the towel on these things, trying to run up front throughout the race, because every time I do, I end up demolished. So this time, just kind of rode around the back and didn't get cleaned out while running in the top 3 this time. So I was the beneficiary of people getting cleaned out from the top 3. So it's certainly nice to be on this end of it.
Well, you go back to the pleasantries of this race, avoiding the incidents. There's very few drivers here tonight that didn't have to burn a fast repair. You were on that list. And so when you can avoid things like that, it makes you feel a little bit more confident when we have 2 green-white checkers to finish the race out.
Oh, for sure. I was involved in 2 of the earlier wrecks. The first one didn't have any damage, so I was fortunate there. And the second one, I got dinged up pretty bad. Had 3 minutes of optionals, so I was able to get that fixed throughout the race. And then coming to the end, I was able to just kind of, I don't know, just kind of let loose and hope for the best, and got lucky this time.
He let it all hang out there in those final 2 laps and did a fantastic job. Big wreck there coming through the quad oval. One last question for you here, Grant, before we go on to thanking people. You come off with kind of a drought here in the Cup Series. It was a rough end to season 5. Now we're setting up for a whole new one. What's in store for us when we go on to Coda?
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of stuff going on last year, so wasn't able to really do anything throughout the week to prepare for races, run officials or anything, practice or anything like that. So hoping to get back into that, just habit of doing things like that again. Hopefully have a better year this year, because certainly the back half, like you said, wasn't good. So hoping to at least make the playoffs and maybe make a run here in the chase. But decent start to the season. Currently top 10 in points, so it's early, but typically pretty okay on the road courses. So looking forward to Coda. Hope to get another top 10 there, and then we get into the real meat of the season here as we get into some ovals.
Well, I'll disagree with you on the pretty okay. I've seen you put on a fantastic show at the road courses, and definitely a top 10 car every time we have to turn right. But Grant Thorpe, fantastic drive here tonight at Atlanta, holding it wide open. Anybody you have to shout out for this top 3 finish?
Of course, you guys, you always do such a great job putting on production for us here at Racing Revolution. My teammate this year, Michael Reed, he was doing everything he could to help me during the back half of the race. He had some pit issues, but he was super willing to help me out. Unfortunately, he got caught up in something there late, wasn't able to make it up there with me to push me. And then, of course, just the whole admin team. A lot of efforts put in from a sponsorship standpoint to scheduling, just make sure everything runs well day in, day out. So appreciate all their help, just making things a little bit easier for the rest of the league, and excited to move on to Coda and the rest of the season.
As are we. Grant, I'm excited here for season 6. This is the 3rd season now, I think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on that we've been around and been a part of this, but it's been a fantastic drive, and I know that everybody looks forward to Wednesday. I've had a lot of fun calling these races with, Alex in the booth every week, and Morgan Cook up here to start out the first season here on Vspeed. We've put on a fantastic job here, and you guys put on a great product. So we'll see you next week, 7 days time at Coda.
Yes, sir.
Good luck.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
There's your 3rd place finisher, Grant Thorpe, in the number 77. And we got to talk about it. There was a lot of racing here. I think this one was good. It gets even better because next week, NASCAR this week is going to Circuit of the Americas. This car was designed for it. I feel like at this point, iRacing has hit the pinnacle of what this car is capable of and what that suspension can do. We're going to see a great race next week.
100%, yeah. And if last season's any indicator, anytime this series went to a road course, it was must-watch TV. Until proven otherwise, that is going to be the case here. You're not going to want to miss next week at COTA because it's going to be an absolutely fantastic race. We haven't had dare I say, a bummer road course race in Season 4. So this is, the expectations are high, but for good reason. I think this is going to put on quite the show.
You can catch that March 4th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Some of you are questioning if you're subscribed to the channel. Well, if you're getting notifications and you're popping up every single week, I think you're good to go. But if you haven't hit that subscribe button and you want to watch the entirety of this season, it follows all 36 weeks of the Cup Series. We will also have that all-star format. And go check out our Vspeed Top 10. We're going to have a not Top 10 coming out here very, very soon. But for everybody here at Vspeed and Racing Revolution in the Chapman Cup Series, Rob Roeder, Nick Owls, Kevin Orlando, you also had Grant Thorpe up here, all of the admin booth. They did a fantastic job. This is Bradley Cooper saying so long from Atlanta on behalf of Alex Gagnon and Adam Baker. We'll see you next time. Stay tracking, everybody.